What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. Let's go ahead and get this party on the road a little bit. Let's see. Send the link around. I'm actually getting quite a few things done with my car, getting that back under control. Actually, there's a couple other things I really should have got done since I'm already getting done, but whatever. Getting my controller arm dealt with, getting some struts because my back tire messing that's that woo 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 sound. Ball bearings, all that good stuff. Getting it done as good as new. Well, not really, but definitely good. I actually need to get another car. I'm actually looking at getting another car too. Um, yeah, it's been a minute. So I got a video on Patreon. It's a free video talking about Disney and how they fumbled an entire generation. How they fumbled an entire generation. You know, when you think about how long Disney, Lucasfilm, or Disney's been in control of Lucasfilm, it's been 14 years. It's been 14 years, and that's pretty much the entire alpha generation. So our child generation. And speaking of children, I'm actually going to have a very conversation about a sensitive topic. We're going to be talking about sexual assault. We're going to be talking about minors. So if you all are, I'm saying this for anybody that would listen to this video. If you are, I mean, I know how to talk, so this is not going to be crazy like that. But if if you're emotional on these topics for whatever reason, you know, you've been warned to not listen. This is gonna be, a real conversation, but it's gonna be a firm conversation. I'm gonna say what I think, and it is what it is. And I'm saying this, my people already know what it is. But with topics like this, like honestly, this this will eventually go on Patreon, but probably for the first couple of days, first week, I'll leave it up. This is actually a response to someone. This is actually a response to someone that, at least I listened to about half of it, and she ain't really wilding out. So this is going to be a respectful conversation. This ain't like the last, person who was just having an out of body experience. This is not that. But, y'all know I'm on TikTok. I mainly leave comments on TikTok. I appreciate Michael with the $5. You all, $5, much appreciated. You all know I leave comments on TikTok. See everyone. No, that's not what I wanted. I'll leave comments on TikTok, and I do voice to text, so sometimes my comments will come out crazy and stuff like that. Come out crazy. And maybe I would get more responses, but this woman, this young lady, decided to give me a response, and she ain't acting crazy or anything like that. But I get, but I get tired. First of all, I think she called me a predator, which I find hilarious because she's more closer to probably being a predator than I am. But you have these zillennials. I'm a millennial myself. That quite frankly, they have no context of history or context. And I'm talking about recent history. And I'm gonna explain this stuff. And I'm saying that because in case some of her people come over here and they get emotional, the reality of the situation is this. I'm gonna say this just like I used to. Shout out to George Megan. He has that street media TV. He got mad at me about this type of commentary as well because he's got daughters. I need y'all to understand something. I don't give a fuck about your feelings in that way. This is a topic that is for grown adults. And quite frankly, a lot of y'all are way too emotional to be having these conversations. Y'all not gonna do nothing. So stop acting like people are saying like crazy stuff. You literally have on TikTok in particular, and I'll refer to you to Shissa Zed because he actually did a video covering it, of gay men actually pressuring females to have sex with gay men, even though those women are pushing back. Black women. And I don't see everybody wilding out for that. You're calling black women bigots and stuff like that. So this is kind of a continuation of that commentary. So people have this thing. I've told you before, I'm gonna tell you again, I can't stand a righteous nigga. Because a righteous nigga, they think they are so right. Black people think they're so right and so understanding. And what this is not. This is not gonna be any kind of defense of pedophilia. This is not going to be a defense of statutory R. This is not going to be any of that. But what this is going to be is this is going to be a real conversation, laying all the things on the table, because a lot of y'all want to get just emotional and turn your brain off. So let's play her video. Her video is really not, I've listened to half of it. It's not that bad. It's not like she's just being straight up disrespectful or anything like that. This is not what that is. So this is not me. This is not me about to roast her or anything. She took the time to make a video responding to what I'm going to say. So I'm going to use her stuff as a platform to talk about some other stuff. And it's not going to be like crazy or anything like that. But y'all have heard what I had to say. I'm gonna repeat it some of the stuff here. So let's go through what she's got to say, and then I'm gonna go through some of the comments too. So they know that they now Jesus. So for you all that just so you all didn't know that what prompted this video. Well, that's a beautiful thing. The comment is right here. So I left the comment saying that girl is going into high school next year, which it will be legal for her to deal with years, basically 18-year-olds. Let's stop acting like it was okay for her to execute him, as in the dude, the 20-year-old that people have come to find out is mentally ill, which I have a mentally ill aunt. So come to find, which by the way, Daniel Penny executed that black man that was homeless. Yeah, he was bothering people, but you could have punched him. There's a lot of stuff you could have did before choking him out till he dies. In fact, another person tried to do that again on a subway station. I don't know if it's New York, and they actually checked that, so the dude didn't die. Because remember, that's not just like a one moment. It takes time to choke somebody out that long to kill them like that. And yeah, Daniel Penny should be in jail. He should have been in jail for manslaughter at the very least. Because I promise you, if it would have been black and white, a black dude on a white person, they would have been in there for murder. So this is what this is about. And by the way, that dude is pretty much found out to be mentally ill. I don't know if the woman, the person that took the shot, if she was found out to have known about the situation, like to know that they were together, which means she should be brought up on charges as well, actually, for that too. But we'll get into that. So that girl is going into high school next year, which it would be legal for her to deal with 18-year-olds. Let's stop acting like it was okay for her to execute him, because that's what happened. She executed him. This wasn't a self-defense. And that's where it ended. So going back to what I said, let me be very clear. There is a very big distinction between this is why women shouldn't have guns. Because women are way too emotional, and what women want to do is do something and then be like, I'm a woman, I did it. That's why when she was talking about, not her that's on the video, but that's why when she was talking and she gave her statement, she was real vague. Her statement was, I did what I had to do. No, you didn't. What you would, because real talk, if she had a ring camera Number one, she told her daughter to not do this. This means this is not the first time. Number two, she told her daughter that she would kill the next person that came in here, put holes in them, basically put holes in them, which is kill or attempted killing. So that signals intent. Number three, she had her gun on her. And she had a ring camera, which means she knew somebody was in the house. We're not even going to get into the Uber to where if because kids can't do Uber on their own. They need their parents to do Uber, especially at 13. It's one thing if you're like 17 or something like that. But if you're 13, you need, because it's called Uber Teens. It's called that, and you have to get permission. You can't shift people around like that because she wouldn't have had a credit card. So that dude wasn't an intruder. I mean, this is just what it is. This is not like, okay, we're stretching the law. What women want to say is he's a predator. He deserves to die. It doesn't matter what happened. That's what this woman is low key gonna say. That's cool. You can have that opinion. But just understand, people are gonna go. People that take your advice is gonna go to jail because you don't know if somebody let somebody in the house. You can't, like, for instance, if somebody has friends in the house, let's say they're 13 and they have a 17-year-old in the house. You don't know why the fuck they're there. You don't know. And if they're in the house and they've been let in the house, you can't just go guns. Let's say it's two females. You can't just go guns blazing. And that's essentially what no, that's not true. She would have actually been more right if she would have went in there guns blazing. Because at the very least, she could have then made the argument it was an intruder in the house. What she did was find the person, didn't shoot him, and then execute him after the fact. Cops can't do that. Cops can't kill people after that person is under control. That's why they have to elevate the threat level and gun and all that and say they had a gun. They can't just kill somebody unarmed. She shot him in the head, so we know for a fact, unquestionably, it was an execution. We know that because of where the shot happened. So it'd be different if it was in the back or anything like that. It'd be different. We know it was point blank. That makes this very different. You want to say he's a predator, he should be dead anyway. So why are we having this conversation? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Y'all need to change the laws then. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And let me remind you, Nicki Minaj is with person on the R list. May not be a pedophile, but on the R list. Let me remind you of that. So people like to be real picky and choosy when they want to do what they want to do. But anyway, let's go through the video. I'm not trying to season it up. Let's go through the video.
Predators are not scared enough. Predators are not scared enough because y'all live by this logic.
I'm going to answer that. And that's where y'all live by this logic. Number one, I have never been accused of sexual assault. I don't, when I, I don't, y'all know that y'all have listened to me for a while. I've said straight up, if you this is back in the day, if you grab a chick's butt, she gets a free shot. Not a free gunshot, but a free punch, slap, whatever. If that was unconsensual, this is before they even had stuff where they could try to call that assault. And I'm talking about in the club and stuff like that. Y'all know I don't play that. I don't play that. I'm talking about how I live, not what I try to project on other people. I don't do none of that. If you even act like you're giving me resistance, even when it comes to just me communicating with you, it's out of there. So I don't do that push through. I don't do none of that. I'm not saying I ain't got no game, but I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that touchy feely, I'm playing that. I don't do none of that. Especially, I don't do none of that. So it's kind of funny. Again, this is projection, so I don't even take this personally because I know who I am. But and you all have heard me talk about as far as that in just when these conversations come up in general. So let's keep going because I want y'all to play it.
Like, oh, well, it wasn't right for the mom to do what she did because they weren't in fear or they didn't like it wasn't right for her to do what she did. And because
I mean, people saying it's not right. Really, it's not legal. It's not legal. And if you want to throw your life away to make a point, which is a very female thing to do, all right.
a lot of time when it comes to either whether it's jail, they be getting like a little slap on the wrist, or nothing really happens to predator.
White people get a slap on the wrist. Black men get more than a slap on the wrist. This is where women are being very disingenuous. This is where women are being disingenuous when they speak on these conversations.
Especially men that prey on little black girls. Nothing happens to them, so they know that they can get away with that type of behavior. So I live by the idea that we should.
Let's be very clear here. When we keep talking about little black girls, like it's, even in the Epstein files, they said specifically they didn't want black females. So this is where we got to be honest on where the epidemic of these things are coming from. And I'll circle back to that. This is where we got to be honest. And a lot of these women don't want to be honest. This is where it gets into stuff like we just need to kill people because they don't want to be honest. Most and when Iana Van Zam was drawing out that honesty when she had the mother and the daughter there, that's when her show got magically canceled and women ran her off the air. But let's go.
Make people scared to do things to children.
I'm gonna say this right now. If somebody is willing to touch a child, most of these people that are willing to touch a child don't care if they live or die. Like they know what the risks are. They know how people are gonna respond. If you go to jail for this, they know what they're at risk. This is known. This is known. They don't care. And I know that's hard for some people to understand, but they don't care. Now, this is not all of them, but like it sounds like, oh, that's simple. Just make them scared. No, it doesn't work that way. But keep going. It doesn't. It doesn't.
That they have no business doing to children. Make predators afraid. Make them afraid that if they
First of all, again, when we use this term children, there are actual real definitions of these things. And I know these are very inconvenient, but it's very important. So a child is considered somebody that's prepubescent. That is what pedophilia is. Meaning, if they're not having in puberty as a male or they don't have a period, they're considered not to be in puberty. Puberty. That is the actual definition of what it is. That's the legal definition of what it is. What you're essentially talking about is statutory, which is saying that by law, their ability to consent is not recognized. However, and here's the thing: people will say, "Well, why do you care unless you're trying to find loopholes in the law?" That's not what it is. What it is you have to know what needs to be changed if you want to change. This is no different than like paternity fraud. This is no different than unlimited unlimited alimony. And see, all these people, notice how what you don't hear these people talk about is changing laws when it comes to notice you don't hear that. You notice you never hear with these people policy. It's just emotionalism and whatever with that. But we'll keep going because I still want y'all to hear it. This is where I'm getting to the point I haven't heard this part going forward.
put themselves in a situation with a child,
She
something
clearly got emotional about what I said though.
can happen to them. Like, and I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. If it's like
It's not it's not a crazy thing to say. It's actually a reasonable thing to say. However, you're not going to emotionally get there. This is not a new problem. So clearly people being in their feelings and being emotional is not what solved the problem. You would think you would understand that. And she strikes me as someone I'm 39, as y'all know. She's significantly younger than me. I would dare say she's a Z. Probably like in her 20s. And so, yeah, but let's go.
saying you break the law you should be held accountable. Y'all want the child to be held accountable. I don't know what
Again, y'all, let me be very clear here. Predators are not having arguments with you all online. Do people that sell drugs, they sell meth or cocaine or opioids? You think they're not having normalizing conversations? You know where this comes from? And I just got to say it. This comes from the alphabet community where people have this mentality like you can argue people down and normalize behavior. That's not what's going on here. So I don't even take it offensive when you say y'all because I know I ain't doing nothing that's anywhere remotely close to that. I'm the type of dude that in the early 2000s, when I was young, I'll tell you where it was. I'm trying to think if it was UC Greensboro. I think it was North Carolina A&T. It was North Carolina A&T, and I was in high school. And me and my friend, we went to a party, in Greensboro, which is 90 miles, which, when you're 18, that's very far to drive, an hour and a half, right? And this is one of our really good friends. And I left that party because the way they were setting it up, they had beer on one side, they had diesel, not even Everclear. They had diesel. If you know, you know. If you know what diesel is, it's the hood version of Everclear. And I took a sip of that for the first time, just a small sip. That crap was fire in my mouth. Literally, it evaporated as it hit my tongue. And I was like, yo, what is this? They said, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo. And I was like, and I said, I'm out. Because I knew what that was. That was on the way. And it was like, women's side. I was like, oh, I'm out. This was common, by the way. So, and that's not my generation. That's another, well, technically they would have been like upper millennial, whatever. But anyway, my point is, I told my friend I'm out, and my friend thought I was playing, and I left him. And he was mad at me for a long time for that. But I told him, I said, I'm leaving. I told him why. Because I said, I'm not doing this shit. And he's like, no, man, be cool. I said, all right. Now, but I don't play with that. That's me. That's before Me Too, before the Duke. No, this is right, probably as the Duke. Yeah. So, that's who I am. So, people can play games with me all the time, so I don't even take offense to what she's saying. She's just responded to a typical commenter, not knowing this person probably could have a YouTube channel. And like I said, it's just me talking. This ain't even crazy.
kind of accountability there is for a child when it's an adult doing something to the child. Like, we understand that children can't.
The problem is you don't have a real fact. The problem is they don't teach y'all what an actual child is. They don't teach y'all these dynamics. This is the type of stuff, quite frankly, should be talked about in sexual education. Like when you have a sex ed class, this actually should be a part of it. There should be like a sexual harassment component. That is just as part is the mechanical part of how sex works. Because a lot of y'all really don't know. And I'm not trying to say she's stupid. I understand what she's trying to communicate and how she feels, but there's certain contextual things that she doesn't understand. And yeah, and it's and I'm gonna explain it.
Hotel room, they can't rent a car, they can't join the military. Like, children cannot do all these things. Yet somehow, when the child, when it's an adult and the child doing inappropriate things, somehow.
Yeah, no, but yes, they can't do things an adult can do. All those things are right. In fact, you can't rent a car till you're 25. Ask me how I know when my dumbass little brother always bothering me about that shit. But they can't vote. But understand, y'all will call a 19-year-old a child. Y'all call an 18-year-old child, a 21-year-old a child. Y'all will call them children too. Hell, some of y'all, if you let them do it, they will call a 25-year-old a child. I've heard it. I mean, and they'll be like, oh, well, they're playing. No, they're serious. So at the end of the day, hold on. First of all, a child knows what right and wrong is. So if a child kills another child, don't say they were a child. If a child kills an adult, if a child gets a gun and shoots an adult, yes, they may not be prosecuted to the level of an adult. And by the way, that can, as black men, how much they could just decide to not do that. 14-year-olds have been done as adults, has been charged as adults. So with black men, oh yeah, that's arbitrary. That's whatever it is, and if they feel like it. But let's stop playing games about quote unquote children don't know what right and wrong is. Now, obviously, you're going to put the weight on an adult, especially if there's extraordinary power dynamics. But let's be very clear and act like they don't know. A 13-year-old is not a 7-year-old. 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds can babysit 7-year-olds, which means a 13-year-old is given a certain level of response, or can be given a certain level of responsibility. A 13-year-old can be left alone in a house, i.e. this situation, versus a 7. Like if you leave a 13-year-old in a house by themselves, you're probably not going to be under legal. You're not going to probably get charged with neglect, but you're definitely going to get charged with neglect if you leave somebody under 10 by themselves and they find out. So there's a difference. We're not getting into the sexual part yet, but there's a difference. There's a difference. So let's stop playing like this universal, everybody's a child type of stuff. That's not how that really works. And that's what people bring into this stuff. And I shouldn't have to do the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of stuff to explain a simple comment. Because quite frankly, there's women with daughters that are older than you that are saying the same stuff I was saying. They were saying the same thing. They're older than you. They're wiser than you. They know more than you. And these are not just like whores. These are actually women that are raised kids and, doing stuff the normal way, not neglecting or none of that. And again, when you're talking to people that are Z's are like 97 and up. They're basically 2000 and up. And that's important because a lot of the laws shifted then. So they're talking about, like, for example, let me give you an example. I wasn't born during Vietnam. So when you talk like about Vietnam, that's the time, my perception of time with that is very different. I was in high school in 9/11. If I'm talking to somebody like this during 9/11, I can recall where I was, the situation, the era, because I lived it. They can't because they didn't, or they were so young they couldn't perceive it. So it's very different. So somebody talking to me about Vietnam and somebody that likes history, that's not going to hit the same as me understanding organically the era of 9/11 and the war on terror. That matters. And I'm not saying that means I know more. It just means that matters. So there's certain things I don't have to look up because I was there. This is how BGS be talking, when he says, I was, how you there, during the crack era. Because again, during the crack era, I was born in the end of the crack era. Anyway,
had more say so than the.
That's not that's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. I didn't say. See, and that's another thing. You all have this one directional accountability. This is a female problem. Men look at it like, if somebody misses a field goal and they lose a game, it's not the part. Yeah, you can point to him because he lost the game, or they missed the last game winning shot. But at the same time, that 48 minutes of play was played, or we just went through the FIFA World Cup. So now let me go through what she said and go a little bit deeper into what she said.
Predators are not scared enough.
So like I said before, you're never gonna make predators scared enough. You're never gonna do that. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be so clear. This is where people don't start like thinking about what they say, because there's a lot of people that see homosexuals as predators. You got a situation right now where you got gay women, you got women and gay men, intersectional women and gay men talking about black women, by the way, on TikTok, by the way, are bigots. Are bigots for not wanting to sleep with quote unquote bi men. I don't believe in bi men. There's gay men that are open to sleeping with women. And I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't even know to the degree. And by the way, I'm also very aware of how prevalent quote unquote predators are. I'm not, Roblox anybody. So I'm not, make no mistake, this is not somebody, I'm just ignorant to the significance of the problem. But you got people that could call that a predator. So like people got to start being flippant with words and start really communicating properly and stop being like, look, man, I get it, but stop being emotional about stuff, like for real, because emotional isn't going to solve the problem. Nobody really cares about your feelings, especially when it comes to this type of thing. They don't. So that's not going to solve it. It's not about you get angry enough or violent enough, you're going to solve a problem. I mean, people don't like school shootings. Does getting angry and violent solve it? No. So anyway, so this idea of fear and this idea of being scared enough, if you're somebody, number one, it's a sickness. That's no excuse. Never give it an excuse. But it is a sickness. So if somebody is mentally ill, then a fear response doesn't always hit the same as like if you're talking about somebody stealing and somebody doing something like that. It doesn't. It doesn't. And this is not me trying to defend people, but you can get yourself in trouble. Like this guy had literally had mental illness. You're talking about his physical age versus his mental age is a lot less. And this is where a lot of times you see people that are willing to do this, they typically do have their mental capacity is diminished. It's not always the case. R. Kelly is an example of this. That being said, that's why you just don't. That's why that execution thing. That's mainly why I said that. That was the context by which I said that, even though I didn't put that in there. So a lot of y'all just want to be right. And this woman threw her life away. Let's be very clear on what this woman did. This woman is going to go to jail. Most likely, she is not going to be found not guilty. And by the way, if she is found not guilty, because I don't even know if that gun is legal. That's a legal firearm. If she is found not guilty, then chances are her kids are not going to be hers anymore. Her kids are going to be in foster care. She has 6 kids, so 5 plus this little girl, and I've been in foster care for 1 year. I know what that's like for 1 year, and now because she made a decision. She made a decision when the dude was leaving the house. Because let's be clear, this is not. And by the way, the little girl is already throwing her mom under the bus, which means she don't even care about what her mom did. As far as saying that her mom saved her and all that, I wouldn't be too surprised if she don't help the prosecutors put her in jail. I would have never said that before I heard her talking. And so at the end of the day, when you say she's a child, this fear, I'm going to go point by point. With this fear response, the reality is here are the facts. Fact number 1, nobody knows if intercourse happened. It wasn't like she caught them having intercourse or she caught them leading up to intercourse. This is according to her statement. He had all his clothes on when she found him. So you don't know what happened. I don't think a kit has been done. So people are making assumptions about this stuff. Number 1. Number 2, he was already walking out the house. Number 2, he was Ubered over there. So again, before I go in this, I want to talk about this fear thing. The reason why they don't like to go on the fear thing is because people can take that and point that at other people. See, for you, it's fear for doing something to a child. Then somebody can say fear to doing something to a woman. Then fear to doing something homosexually or something like that. There's this idea, even though she is the reason he's in there. Do not tell me she's a child. She's 13. She's a teenager. A teenager and a child are 2 different things. There's, like I said before, she is in high school. So if an 18-year-old is fucking her when she turns 14, that is a legal encounter. You do understand that, right? You do get that, right? So all of this, what you doing, that was my point of the comment. All of what you doing doesn't matter. At that point, it becomes an opinion. And we don't even know if she's like 13 and a half or if she just turned 13. For all you know, she could be closer to 14. And I'm not trying to make this right, the dude is already dead. I'm not crying for that, but this woman threw her life away when she should have called the police. Oh, well, they don't do enough to him. So you're justifying her throwing her life away because that is what she did. And you want to talk about, and nobody gives a fuck about black women. There's a black woman shot two attorneys because they've been playing with her for years. And I actually, the attorney survived, but I get why she did it. But she still is going to be done. And this is the thing. You all want to have an emotional argument, and we're not even talking about like if let's say the family is like gangstered up, is gang banged up, and they be like, oh, you shot little Timmy, oh, he had mental issue, but oh, she did that, oh, bet. And they don't give a fuck about what you talking about, and they just handle her. We're not even talking about that because that can definitely happen. They go ahead and drive by the whole house. See how hard she really. See, that can't happen. And they be like, oh, you know what? Y'all don't give a fuck what she did. That little bitch invited him over there. Were they actually having sex? No, well, then you don't know what the fuck was going on. Oh, bet I'm a handler. See, that can happen too. And people don't think about that. The point is, she should have called. She knew that he was in the house because of the Uber thing and because of the ring light thing. That's actually in the evidence. So she should have called the police. No, she wanted to teach her daughter a lesson because that's what she told her daughter. That's according to her. That's what she said. Her own mouth. And really, the argument really is they're predators. They should be dead. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. Mainly because a lot of white people are predators. I bet you if he was white, she wouldn't have did that shit. Just FYI. And so my point is not blaming the girl, but understand that the girl was gonna be a perpetual problem. If it wasn't him, it would be somebody else. That's just the truth. Because she did it before, that's the only reasonable reason somebody would say the next time you let somebody else in here, I'm gonna put holes in them. And to sit here and say she's a child, she don't know what she bullshit. Just like so now I guess she don't know what she doing when she throwing her mother under the bus? No, she knows right from wrong. Her mother told her to not put no dudes in this house. You're a child. She said, fuck that. And I'm not even going to get on her social media because if you really believe she's a child, then what's on her social media is child porn. It's CP. And that's what other women are saying. Women that are older. These ain't just young. Because, women don't really just go up against. These are older women that were saying all of that. Because when they grew up, that's what the rules were. If you're sitting here doing all that, you doing too much. Because the thing that this chick don't want to understand is a woman, because they're not even talking about like the age. I'm not even talking about if she lied about her age or not. Because if she didn't lie about her age, it's a different situation. If she did, it's a different situation. But females like that 13-year-old are gonna find their ways to dick. No matter what you do, they're gonna find the dudes that are willing to deal with it. And the problem is saying that, well, the issue is we need to make them afraid. That is very naive. That is very short-sighted. That's very childish. Before the year 2000, like in 1999, all 34 states were pretty much 16 years old is age of consent. Period. There were no Romeo and Juliet laws. It was straight up. That's what it was. Straight up. And then you had the teen pregnancy thing, and I guess more of the states started to flip it to 18. Western Europe right now, Germany, France, UK, where all laws are based on, is 16 years old. That's what the law is. I'm like, if y'all don't like it, change it. But I never hear nobody wanting to change it. Yeah, they change it slowly at the state level. Why isn't there no national 18 years old straight up with 4 years Romeo and Juliet to account for high school? That's it. It's simple. Why isn't it that? I would vote for that because you got all these other racial groups up in here. You got these Afghanis, these Arabs. You got this rule about if two consenting adults from marriage to try to like low key accept arranged marriages. You've got how the Hispanics do it. You got how these white people that are in the Mormons do it. These are white laws. These are not, these are white laws. These are laws white people want in action. And so I'm telling you what it is. You can be mad and pout all you want to. That ain't stopping nothing. Cause let's be clear. And then somebody in the comment talked about the David. So it's David's situation with David is this like artist that's like a monster that basically cut up and killed an 11-year-old that he was dealing with, and he's 19 years old. That Hispanic family knew he was dealing with her. That's not justifying what he did, but let's be very clear here. They didn't call the police. They didn't do nothing. They let her run around like that. This is a black dude. They let her run around like that. Just like with R. Kelly. Those girls was pimped. This is not saying I'm not. Yeah, he should be in jail. He's in Butner. I could drive to where to the prison he is and be there in 45 minutes. I could be there if I leave my house right now and go. Well, no, I can't wire my car, but you get what I'm saying. So that fear thing, these people don't care. They don't care. They're not afraid. There's no level you're going to be afraid. And what she's really calling for is she's calling for men to just enforce. It's interesting how women love to try to call for men to be violent at their discretion, not understanding that violence, you don't have a monopoly on that violence. And so I guess people are saying, well, she should be let go. Well, what about the next dude? And the next dude, and the next dude. So she's 14 and she lies and says she's 18. She's gonna keep clipping them? Is that what's gonna happen? Because eventually somebody's just gonna be ready and do her like a lot of these stepfathers get done. So to sit here and just say she a child and she don't know right from wrong, that's bullshit. And let me give you another example. So because I've heard a lot of white people talking about this. White people don't say they won't let their daughters do slumber parties. You know why? Because you don't know if you got a little hoe in that group that wanna initiate experimentation, and all the other females listen. So you got them slumber parties. Really, people are starting to figure that out. They're all children by your definition. But the one that initiates that, do they not know right from wrong? That's the point. Or what about if he was 13? If they're all the same age, what? These motherfuckers be fucking in middle school. I don't know why y'all trying to act like this stuff don't be going down. Like y'all really be acting like this stuff. Y'all need to start watching more about what your kids be doing. Anyway.
Predators are not scared enough because y'all live by this logic like, oh.
And again, I'm just laughing at the fact that she keeps saying y'all live by this logic. Like I'm sitting here, like I would really be a predator and sit here and get online. Like it's so fucking ridiculous. It's comical.
Well, it was.
And ain't no such thing as a female predator, because black women are right up there with white women when it comes to being predators. White women just are more bold about it.
For the mom to do what she did because they weren't in fear or they didn't like it wasn't right for her to do what she did, and because a lot of time when it comes to
yeah, and I may have said right. I mean, I'm not really. I'm gonna keep it real. I personally don't give a shit. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Mental illness should not excuse consequences. I don't believe that's a hot take, but I don't believe that. And I have an aunt that is, she has schizophrenia, but like I'm serious. Like that situation with that black man in Charlotte with the Ukrainian woman, he needs to go to jail and not a psych ward. He needs to go to jail. I don't agree that in Butner because that's what happened in Butner. Because that town has a state prison, a federal prison, and a psych prison, a psych like facility. They're in the prison business. It's actually kind of funny. I might drive up there, one day while I'm doing a live. I don't agree with that. So I actually understand. So I actually don't think that like him being 20 and all that is an excuse. I don't agree with that. I think if you're gonna let mentally ill people be free and be out, there is a certain responsibility that comes with that freedom. And you don't just get to say, well, they're crazy, and so therefore they should be held accountable and with medication. I don't believe that. I don't. And I don't believe that with black men. There's a situation with a white woman where a white woman killed, like her three kids, and you got white women out here talking about you got white women out here talking about hold on, is it okay, hold on. So let me see if I can find it. You got white women out here. Oh, this chick. You got white women out here, like literally white women on this app. And you know what? I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that because I want y'all to see that. See that. Yeah, this is where I be getting my TikTok. If I be doing TikToks. Hold on. I want y'all to see that. Hold on one second. I want to see it. By the way, this chick does a very good job at like what you can look like, wearing your natural makeup and stuff like that. Very good. She should sell skin treatment stuff for real. This chick actually does a good job too, man. She trying to get in that pander game, but she's doing a good job. Hold on. No, this is recent. Hold on, because I want to find this. By the way, give me 1 second. This chick be tripping me out. This is how this shit really sounds. The difference between white guys and every other ethnicity is that when any other ethnicity says that ass fat. Yeah, that's funny. That chick is Albanian. She probably be one of the few Albanians I would actually deal with as far as like being cool with. This is yeah. I may jump into the straight women thing, but I don't want to jump into that right now. Like this is that crap. Conversation about bisexual men not being the preference of straight women is coming back up again. I made a video about this about 4 years ago. Go look that up. But press one if you can't hear what I'm saying. Press one if you can't hear what I'm saying or you can't hear the videos I'm playing. Oh yeah, this is right here. So it looks like everybody else can hear. All right, let's look at this. Look at this. Did she murder three of her children? Yes. Do I think she should go to prison for it? No, probably. Hold on, they're gonna mess up my stuff. Yeah, that's literally a story right now. That is literally a story right now. That is literally a story right now. It's other ones. Four black people lost their. Oh yeah, this is that coroner. But yeah, that's literally the. All right, let me see something. All right, is the initial vid low? Like the vid I've been playing low? Is the video I've been playing low? All right, this should be a lot better. Oh shoot. Okay, this would be a lot better because I actually downloaded the video.
Predators are not scared enough. Predators are not scared enough, because y'all live by.
Y'all should be able to hear this. I mean, you gotta understand how crazy you are calling like this. This is how you know you got a parasocial relationship online. This that's some perpetually online shit. You know, call like you really think predators are gonna argue with you? So what? You think I got like a couple of bodies? Like I got a couple of kids that I've fucked? Like, is that what you think? And I'm just in here commenting because I feel triggered about what you're saying. Like, like like, really, think about that shit. Think about that shit. It's like, is that what you think? I mean, if that's what you think, you should. It's an automatic block.
And because a lot of time when it comes, nothing really happens to.
And that's and the other that's a very female. Oh, they're just not afraid enough. They're just not afraid enough.
Time.
Just like how you all talk about how y'all afraid. Here's a funny thing: women will talk about how afraid they are of being out, but women stay putting themselves in. I'm talking about grown women compromising situations when they want some dick. But y'all say y'all afraid. I'm afraid to be out at 3 o'clock at night. But y'all always out at 3 o'clock at night. Come on now. They're just not afraid enough.
When it comes to either whether it's jail, they be getting like a little slap on the wrist.
I mean, what are you talking about when we say a little slap on the wrist? What are you talking about? First of all, like, and they want to talk about children. Like, so you're saying, let's be clear. So you're saying that when they are accused of dealing with children and they are convicted, they get a slap on the wrist. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's actually not true. They may get a little slap. That's not true. If you get caught with CP, you're out of here. If you get caught, things that you get a slap on the wrist for, maybe is like if you pull your dick out in public exposure. Okay, yeah. But if you're actually grabbing people, touching people, and stuff like that, you don't. I mean, you not getting video game numbers, no. But what are we talking about? Like a slapper, if you get caught with CP, you're getting real numbers. Like real talk. Like they just caught what the South Carolina Professor Black Truth did a thing on the South Carolina judge that presided over Dylan Roof. He got caught with CP. Now, could they take it to the level that they could take it? No. But they're not getting like probation. This isn't like, okay, you got a DWI and it's like, okay, you're out of here, but you're fine. No. Not to mention you're getting on that list once you get out of jail, which completely fucks up your ability to generate income. So again, that's when people are just talking, especially with black men. Remember, she's black, so you know she's got black men on her mind, right? What are we talking about?
Or nothing really happens to predators.
Like this is actually not true. This is actually not true. This is actually not true. This is a lie. What she's saying is not true. It is categorically not true what she's saying. And keep in mind, this video is about predators towards children. That's not true what she's saying. That's actually inaccurate what she's saying.
Especially
yeah, what's up,
men
Forever
that prey
Blessed?
on little black girls.
Okay, let's be clear about men that prey on little black girls. The men that prey on little black girls, let's define what that is. We're talking about 12, 11, and under. When you're 14, 13, 14, you're pretty much about to be in high school. That is not the same as little black girls. Now, I'm not saying it's right at all, but that's a different dynamic. Because the access that these high schoolers have to older, when I say older, I mean 18-year-olds and stuff, is completely different. It is a very different dynamic. And so when people are sitting here talking about little black girls, they really mean anybody under 18 years old. In her case, she's probably talking about anybody under 16 years old. which is a wide gap. A 6 and 7 year old and a 15-year old, two completely fucking different things. Or a 13-year old, it's two like. And this is not about me trying to make something right or not. But what this is to understand is, you see what they won't say is, they won't. This is what they want to say. They want to say, if a 14-year-old has a fake ID and gets in a club, they want to say it's completely the man's fault because there's no 14-year-old that looks like an 18-year-old. That's what they want to say. That's not always true. Or they want to, or if a 13-year-old is doing what this female was doing, which is um basically like I didn't see the TikToks, but I know what these women were saying, like what she had. I don't even want to repeat the stuff she had. And then commenting people in the chat. This is why they say, because these females are renegades, man. When they sit there, they're creating problems for the mothers. They're creating problems because, quite frankly, they're bringing dangerous men into the house. This is what people don't understand. She brought that man into that house that her other siblings might have to deal with. She did that. He's not there if she didn't do what she did. And that's a deeper problem. And so, quite frankly, she should have been put in foster care, honestly, to protect the other kids. Oh, she's a child. So it means there's no accountability there. So everybody else has to suffer because she wants to be a hoe. And other women understand, no. It's just like when men get super rebellious because males get stronger, and you get to a point in high school where you're stronger than a woman. And if you can't, you're not going to comply. You need to get out of there. It's the same thing. Back in the day, you used to just send them down south. But in her mind, the dude just somehow snatched her. There's a difference between being snatched up and you inviting people to your house. Because it's not about, oh, he's right. It's not about saying he's right. Yes, he's wrong. Of course he's wrong. But what it's about is, now you've made this home a dangerous place and unsafe because you can't keep your coochie in check. Now you've become. So here's the thing. Okay, let's go this route. Dude is dead. She gets acquitted. The dude is dead. In fact, she don't even go to trial. Charges get dropped. She's right. She's right. Now what? Everybody's in the house. Now what? What do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? You think that she's magically gonna learn her lesson and she turns 14, like I said in my comment. She turns 14, she puts an 18-year-old in the house. Now, no matter what the woman does, what when I say the woman that shot it, she can't pull that trick again. Now what? Oh, she's 14, he's 18. Romeo and Juliet laws. Now what? They're in high school. Now what? That's less than 10 months. That's a less than 10-month difference on her end. Now what? You see what I'm saying? That doesn't solve the problem, which is the point. This is why people talk about spin that. They talk about city girls. Because that's who's groomed. See, they never think about these girls being groomed by the music, by the environment, by people that don't want to grow the fuck up. It is very bold to bring a boy in, a man, whatever, to bring somebody in the home when you were told not to. That means you do not care about the sovereignty of your own house. That is some bold shit. That is not an accident. Oh, she a child. She don't know. So if she picks up a gun and shoots one of her siblings, oh, she's a child. She don't know. That girl could babysit 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. Why are you all acting like these women? Like, because boys don't get that grace. They don't get that grace. It's like, it's. She's a child. She knew exactly what she was doing. This is not to say he's not more accountable, but he's dead. And truth be told, if he had mental illness, that does need to be taken into account of why he did what he did. Because people talk about was typing in other people's stuff. Yeah, he got mental illness. So this is not, but at the end of the day, for you to sit here and act like, this chick is some kind of martyr, she's not a martyr. In fact, her daughter is even saying that. Her daughter is low key saying that she knew about the relationship. Anyway, let's keep going.
Nothing happens to them, so they know that they can get away.
And her argument is nothing happens to them so they can know they can. That's not true. What you're saying is a lie. It is not true. What you are saying that that if you deal with if you are doing pedophilia activity, nothing happens to them, so they know they can get away with it, particularly with young black girls. This is not true. This is a lie. What happens is when these women want help and they get stepfathers, because understand, these women be knowing a lot more about what goes on in their house than they like to act like they do. These like for instance, Nicki Minaj's brother is one of these people. Nicki Minaj's brother was convicted of, you can look up the court transcript. I brought this up before, was convicted of dealing with an 11-year-old. And apparently he was doing it for 3 years. It was only because her younger brother caught them in the act. I'm not even going to say what it is, that he got convicted. You're telling me that woman had no idea that was going on for 3 years? This is not to take any kind of accountability points away from him, but this happened because of neglect at best. And at worst, it was something a lot more sinister. The stuff with R. Kelly. R. Kelly was able to pull off what he pulled off because it not with Aaliyah's family. Aaliyah's family legit didn't know. But a lot of these other girls, their mothers was pimping them. That's a quiet secret. That's like an open secret in Chicago. This is not saying R. Kelly shouldn't be in jail. This is saying he shouldn't be the only one. And that is that's what these people never want to really talk about. So they keep on saying, they act like I'm being called a predator because in their mind, I'm justifying this. I'm talking about societal management. I'm not talking about just one situation where you can just point the finger at somebody and then wash your hands of everything else. No, these things happen continuously, not because of the people that just do it, but the people that actually create the environment in their own household for it to happen. Now, that's not a conversation I'm necessarily going to have with that chick because I don't know about that. But this is what I do know. I know she most likely brought a dude in there before because she made the threat that she made. And that's a different problem. If you bring dangerous people into the house because you don't give a fuck, that means you become the danger. Whether you're a child or not, you become the danger. And that's the conversation they don't want to have. You're trying to dismantle 100% of this girl's accountability to her own house that she lives in by basically saying he's a predator. She did what she did. She wouldn't have had to shoot nobody if her daughter wasn't fast. Her daughter's not a victim. Not saying the dude who got shot is. Her daughter's not a victim. Her daughter you're a victim for inviting somebody in your house? And people would sit here and say, okay, well, what? And this dude has got mental capacity. Now, people would sit here and say, well, when you look at To Catch a Predator and all of that stuff, which I'm a big fan of, they'll sit there and say, oh, well, you could say that about these other people too. Sure, you can. And I'm not necessarily saying that dude shouldn't, intent matters. Intent matters. I'm not saying that if she would have called the police, he should have been arrested. And truth be told, he probably wouldn't. If nothing sexually happened, he probably would be able to lean back on mental issues. That being said, she's 13. She she knew he was 20. And so it's kind of like, so the real answer, I'm gonna tell you what my mom would have said. My mom would have said, if you invite another dude in this house, you out of here. That's what my mom would have said. Straight up. If she would have had a daughter, my mom would have said straight up, if you invite another dude into this house without my permission, you invite another male in general without my permission, you're going to DCFS. My mom used to threaten me with that shit over the dumbest shit. But you're going to DCFS, period. Because I got 5 kids. I can't, if y'all are just gonna be like that and y'all don't care, I got straight up. That would have been a straight up conversation. And that's what this woman is not understanding. That's what these other women would have said. Or at the very least, they would have sent them to like the South or something like that. They would have said, "You're out of here. You are out of here." Because in the black, because we know that this is not some, when these girls run away, that's a decision. They're not being snatched up. They're running away. Oh my God, there's so many missing black girls. A lot of them are running away. And that's a conversation people don't want to have. Anyway.
With that type of behavior. So I live by the idea that we should.
And just so we're clear, if you're talking about anybody under like 10 and under, fine, we can have a conversation about they don't know what they're doing, they don't understand. You're talking about 13, nah, you about to be in high school. We were all 13. You're not that fucking dumb. You're not that fucking dumb. I'm not playing that game with you. So he's dead. So the next conversation is you bring another dude in here, you're getting up out of this house. That's the next conversation. And see, it's like they don't understand that. It's like he a child. Nobody's necessarily defending him being there, even though technically, again, if she would have shot him, said I was afraid, I shot him, as soon as I saw him because I was afraid that somebody was in my house, then you might have a better argument. But here's the problem. Now the evidence becomes, well, you knew he was in the house because of the Ring camera, and then an Uber was done. So did you really just have no idea somebody was in your house? This is why a lot of times prosecutors don't typically prosecute these cases. For some reason, they want to prosecute her. Usually, they don't like to prosecute these cases because people get emotional like this chick, and they'll vote on this chick. This stuff.
Make people scared to do things to children that they have no business doing to children.
If these people don't care about that, I've said that before, I'm gonna say it again. Like, you don't understand, you can't comprehend that, but they don't understand. It's just like you can put video game numbers for being caught with a firearm. They don't care. So that's a naive, like, childish point of view. That's not going to solve it. It hasn't solved it. It's not going to solve it.
Make predators afraid. Make them afraid that if they.
I mean, these predators, these guys are not even afraid to get in relationships with women to deal with a woman's children. So you keep talking about make them afraid, make them afraid. Like this is not. This is just you.
Put themselves in a situation with a child, something can happen to them. Like, and I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
And the thing too is, people say that. Well, these people can also do something to you too. I don't know why you have this idea that all these motherfuckers are just these little pipsqueaks that like again,
Hey, if it's like me saying you break the law, you should be held accountable. Y'all want the child to be held accountable. I don't know what kind of accountability.
Nobody said the child should be held accountable. That's not nobody's out. I've listened to live videos on this. Nobody's saying that. But what they are saying, and you're saying you don't know what she should be held accountable to, she's bringing danger in the house because she can't keep her coochie in check. She's bringing danger in the house. That's what she's doing. That's what she's doing. Everybody, we know you can't bring any motherfucker in the house. Like, why are we acting like we don't understand that?
There is for a child when it's an adult.
She's a 13-year-old. Next, she's in the eighth grade at best. She'll be in 9th grade next year. What are we talking about? These people can be suspended from school. Like, what are we talking about? These and notice how she keeps saying because it's an adult. Yes, we understand that an adult is held more accountable. We understand it. In her mind, predators are not held accountable at all, which is actually not true. But and what she really probably wants to say is they're not killed. In her mind, because they're not dead, they're not held accountable. Because they definitely are held accountable. Like you ain't working with nobody in no regular job that they got convicted for this, that, and the third. Let's stop playing games with that. This is where people get lost in their own rhetoric. But Yeah, like these people ain't just in open society, like open. This ain't like homosexuality where you know they gay and it's like no, this is not that.
doing something to the child, like we
And by the way, nothing happened. You're arguing. Notice how they're talking as if she caught them having sex. That's not what happened. So you're, and this is important because women will remember stuff and get so emotional about what they think is they'll literally start misremembering shit, and they'll literally start making stuff up that didn't happen. And I'm gonna keep it real. Like, why didn't she get a kit if something happened? Nothing happened. That's not what happened. She's acting like they had sex, they chilling. He got his shirt off. She went in there and she told him get no. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Y'all are you're literally fabricating something, and that's important because if you're gonna justify shooting somebody, you can't. Him being in that house is not enough. It's not. Not when he didn't it's not he didn't drive there. It's important with To Catch a Predator. Like here's the thing. That Catch a Predator show, y'all do know why that show ended, right? That show ended because it was a good show. The show ended with Chris Hansen with Dateline because he caught like a white judge and the white judge killed himself. And because he caught a white judge at a certain town and the white judge killed himself and they had to cancel the show because of that. Even though it was very strong evidence that he was not that different than the judge that was in South Carolina that presided over the Dylan Roof case. Because my thing is, why would you kill yourself if you didn't? Why would you do that if you aren't doing anything? You know what I'm saying? At that point, that's a lawsuit. That's some good money. So that's why that show actually ended. I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's why that show ended. But yeah, man.
understand that children can't get a hotel room, they can't rent a car, they can't join the military.
But joining the military, like these are not like decisions though. These are not decisions. What are you talking about? So let's make it this clear. So can a 13-year-old have sex with another 13-year-old? Yes. So what are we? I'm not. What are we talking about? That's not the same as what you're talking about. And to be naive and to say that like it's not happening, y'all are playing. This is not, again, everybody wants this is not about justifying what he did. He's dead. This is really about, there's a couple of different situations, but this is mainly about this woman threw her life away because of something her daughter was just going to keep doing. That's what this is really about. And y'all are trying to make it like she's being held accountable for killing a pedophile when the reality is number one, we don't know if he's actually been charged and accused of that before. Number two, I did see what they were talking about the TikToks. We going through other people's TikToks. Again, they said he was young minded because he was mentally ill. And so, which that's what the law is. And again, it makes a big difference, those dynamics, if like you think something happened, because again, you let him walk out your house and you just put a bullet in the back of his head. There's no legal framework where that is okay unless violence has already happened. And even then, that's important. That's important. There's no scenario, like even a cop can't get away with that shit. A cop can't say, I was afraid for my life, and then you find out it was a point blank execution shot in the back of the head. There's no way a police officer that has a greater right to kill people than other people do, that you can do that, and you can't hide that. Nobody has even soldiers have rules of engagement. She broke the rules. It's not self defense, and you want and I get it. You want to say because in your mind he's a predator because he could only be a predator because in that house if he had the intent of having sex. Which again, oh, that's what I was gonna say to catch a predator. What I was gonna say is the reason why an Uber would never work because that would be entrapment. They can't prosecute that. You can't be like, oh, I sent an Uber for him to come to my house and we had these text messages. You can't do that. They have to actually drive. I'm not saying that like you I look, I get what the intent was if you're accepted in Uber, but that's entrapment. You can't they could never do that. Because then how is he leaving? You can never do that. No. You have to like he has to drive to the house himself. Exactly. She did. Now he didn't. Now she didn't. I don't know if she knew he was mentally ill because I'm not assuming that she knew him. Now, if she did know him, that's even worse. But the reality is that's entrapment. So that's important. If she pulled an Uber there, oh, she's 13, she don't know what she's doing. Cool, but cool, but she didn't. This isn't dude just drove up. Here's why this is important. It's not like the dude pressured her to come over. Literally, it's a big difference between you getting in front of somebody. That pressure is not there when you're going out of because you don't control your Uber. So you're going out of your way as a 13-year-old to access your mom's account in order to bring people to the house. And you just gonna say she's a child, she don't know none of that. Stop that shit. That's bull. She don't know what Uber is. No. Because guess what? If they're in school, when you're in middle school, you don't get to say, "Oh, but they're children. They don't know what the fuck they're doing." Come on, man. Stop that shit. Nobody's saying that she could legally consent to sex. I'm not saying it. I'm not making that case. But the reality is nobody said they actually had sex. And when you shoot somebody execution style, you're not you can't claim self-defense. You can't claim you was afraid. That's why she made a statement. He was in my house and I did what I had to do. You can't claim all of that. And by the way, she didn't know he was 20 years old unless she knew him. That's important because how did she know he was 20 and he wasn't 17? Motherfucker, I've had a goatee since I was 14 years old. Don't make me get the pictures. Motherfuckers used to joke and say they thought I ate pussy because I was 14 with a fucking goatee. And I've had my goatee ever since. I've never changed my style. It was a joke. I mean, and I didn't. But yeah, because they like, how you fucking 5'1" or 5 foot? Because I was short. Even, back, I mean, I'm still short now. How you 5'1" in the ninth grade? Ed, you eat pussy, nigga? Because ain't no way. Did you get held back, nigga? Get the fuck out of here. I got held back. How the fuck you got a whole mustache and you fucking you 14? So she didn't know he was 20. She didn't unless she knew him. And if she knew him, then that's a different conversation. But see, it was, but I had that early. I said that joke because y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I mean, but the thing is, I was short. But if you one of these motherfuckers, remember, if you one of these motherfuckers and you 6 foot in the 8th grade, you're 6 foot in the 8th grade. I knew an African dude that was like, come on. So she didn't know that unless she knew him. So either way, she's fucked.
Like children cannot do all these things, yet somehow when the child when it's an adult and the child doing inappropriate things, somehow
They you inappropriate things wasn't done. That's the funny part about it. Like she doesn't even know what the fuck happened with the story. Basically, what happened, according to her statement, is she went in the house. By the way, she had her gun on her. She had the gun on her. Let me see if I can find a video that actually gives the statement. Just so y'all know I'm not bullshitting.
Yes, if you were attracted to a man and then you find out that he's so the
I'm done with that video for the most part. But yeah, but this is where context matters. And a lot of these people want to get super duper angry and super duper upset. And it's like, yo, fuck your feelings, man. The reality is situation is y'all because what you're really saying is I want to throw a tantrum more than I want to solve a problem. You don't really want to solve the problem. You don't. You don't want to solve the problem because you don't want to be honest. You don't want to be honest. And it's kind of like, okay, well, whatever. This is why nothing ever happens. You don't want to be honest. That's why me and George Macon used to butt heads on this situation because it's kind of like until people make people scared. And it's like, what if somebody says something, they should just be able to be shot in the street? Like, what are we really saying? And these people don't get that far because they're too in their feelings about a situation. Anyway, I'm about to move on. I'm gonna find that video and I'll do a follow up to it if I find that video because
can you help me understand?
I want to really yeah. And, I mean, it was a lot of black women that was making these comments. Like some of these comments. And they just lost their mind. They just lost their mind because it's like because again, when you think you're right, it ain't nothing nobody can say. Anyway, I want to give you an idea. Well, I mean, it is what it is. My point is that George May, oh man, what we gonna do about this is a problem. Well, what do you think we should do? You think we should just go ahead and just do the purge and just start killing people? Because I don't know what y'all really want. Because y'all just keep saying what needs to be done, and I ain't never seen nobody actually map nothing out. And so when you get mad, so when people challenge, because George Baker is old enough, to know like how stuff it was and in the context with that. And also, a lot of these dudes be protected by females. Exactly. Anyway, this is the stuff I was telling y'all about with the bi
Conversation
thing.
about bisexual men not being the preference of straight women is coming back up again. I made a video about this about 4 years ago. Go look that up. But the conversation has only changed in the intensity of the rejection of the straight women. Like this time around, straight women are really standing on business. Some of them recognized that it was homophobic. Some of them tiptoed around it. Now they just straight up saying, yeah, I'm homophobic and what? And I think it was
Now I want you to think about this. So because straight men don't want to have, remember, this is the black community, right? They are saying that black women are homophobic because black men say they don't, because black women say they don't want to have sex with a man or deal with men that have taken dick in the ass. Of all the stupid shit black women say, this is not one of them. And they are literally calling these women a name. Let me be very clear here. It is this is why I don't recognize the term homophobia, by the way. That word is bullshit. It's a propaganda word. Let me be clear, just so you understand where I stand. Y'all know I'm the dude that said a woman doesn't have to deal with you for any reason. They just got to be accountable to their own choices, right? That's me. If a man, let me be very clear here. If a man has sex with another man, that is a commentary on your character. That is a character judgment. Fuck what you think it is. That is what it is. And we are more, number one, we black people for the most part are in the Abrahamic religions, whether it's Islam or whether it's Christianity, and none of them play that shit. Black women are not. You know what's crazy? I want you to know what's crazy. We know in the black community how clicked up black women are with gay dudes. I want you to really think about the fact that if a black women spend money with gay dudes, in different industries, blah blah. I want you to they advocate for them to black men's issue with that. So because black women don't want to have sex with gay men, they are homophobic when in every other way they're probably pro gay. Too pro gay for me. I want you to think about that. Does that not sound like pressure? Does that not sound like bullying? I want you to really think about that. And I want you to think about look at how he's just casually saying this. Like this is settled law. Like this is like some memo was passed. Like he said 4 years ago. He's saying they were tiptoeing around it. I want to know where the purple pill men. I want to know where are these guys at? Where are the guys that talk about women should be protected? Because this is an attack on black women. This is a sexual attack on black women. Where are they at? Remember when I told you they always worried about one group of dudes when they really need to be worried about more?
Interesting to all men, straight, bisexual, pansexual, whatever, in this conversation right now is that on men's side, we don't have this issue. For the fellas, it don't matter if you straight, if you're bi, if you're pan, if you a stud, lesbian, whatever. Shoot or shoot. Have y'all not heard of the good brother Izzy Dre? What was really startling is that they will not admit that this is a problem. They believe that their version of homophobia is
See, this when he said with men we don't have this issue. So okay, this is what he's saying. He's saying that if you're a woman that dude, first of all, every dude doesn't. There is a such every dude is not really cool with bitches going both ways. So it's not that we don't have this issue. And by the way, yeah, it's a different standard. It is a different standard. I personally think I'm sorry. Fuck you. If you want to unsubscribe, unsubscribe. You're a weirdo if you fuck studs. And yes, I know the difference between a tomboy and a stud. But if you have a thing about fucking studs, you're weird to me. And personally, you're on the suspected gay list. You feel be mad. You're mad. Be mad. I don't give a fuck. That's some weirdo shit. That's like your kind of um loophole. But no, you're on the suspected list. Fuck what you talking about. Yeah, yeah, Monet. A lot of because a lot of bi women tend to be intersectional feminists. It's other reasons with that. So with that it's not as much of an issue, I would admit. And first of all, it's not an issue. It's not really an issue. It's a standard, and there's a reason. There's a reason why that's that way. There's a biohazard reason. By the way, this is on TikTok.
they're not out here beating on people or putting them in danger, they're not a problem. For some reason, black women's version specifically is a benign homophobia. But the problem
Benign homophobia. Now all of a sudden they know what benign is.
is it reinforces and supports harmful stereotypes that already exist. There's a difference between preference and bias. Now we can get into gender, we can get
Let me be very clear here. I don't support a black community. The magical black community y'all want to create, that has gay people and straight people being indistinguishable. Let the white people have it. Let the white people have it. If that's where y'all going, let white supremacy win. Go ahead, end it. Go ahead, end it. Go ahead, end it, and let's clock out right now. Go ahead, end it. Let the white people have it. Let the white, even though we know what they're on with the gay shit, but let them have it. I'm telling you right, that's an unacceptable position. There is a red line between that shit. Let the white people have it. I'm so fucking serious. We don't need to be here. The Black American clan doesn't need to be here. If that's what y'all doing, we don't need to be here. Y'all need to be separate. That red line needs to be very clear. Fuck anything y'all are talking about. If y'all want to change that, y'all need to fight a war and win a war.
Into conversations about dramaturgy by Goffman. We can get into labeling theory, all
This is what happens when you just talk and there's nothing behind just to talk. This is what happens when you just have, this is what happens when you just circle jerking to death. When you're just having this intellectual conversation, you go so far down these fucking rabbit holes. Some stuff is just shut the fuck up, fight a war. You're going to have to kill some people in order to change this. This ain't changing. This ain't changing. So if you want to change it, you're going to have to drop some bodies. This is not a debatable topic. It's not.
kinds of stuff that'll get us in the weeds. So
And see, stuff like this is able to operate to the level it is because black men. This is what happens when black men drop, heterosexual black men drop the ball. Now y'all see when y'all get this black men are cancer to the black community, heterosexual. This is where this stuff comes from. I didn't realize these conversations were being had to this degree.
theologically, but we'll stick to gender for right now. I think we can all agree that gender is a performance that has been established.
Gender is a performance now.
So, what we're looking at is the performance of men's gender, specifically their sexuality. So, because of the way that they perform their gender or perform their sexuality, you
This is women's fault. This is what happens when you open these doors. You open these doors to this World War Z floodgate bullshit, and they're using your own stuff against you. This is what happens. You know they got mad with Magic Johnson's son. This is what happens.
say that your preference is not them. But an example of preference would be pizza. Say you want to order a pizza for dinner. Okay, cool. While I would prefer Papa John's or Pizza Hut, I can still get little
This is that fucking spectrum bullshit. I don't like that. It's just a spectrum. I don't believe that. You all need to be quarantined from the rest of the black community. You know, I talked to somebody that said that they know somebody that their family, they're a part of like 45 grandkids. So they're like their group is 45 grandkids. Like they don't have 45 grandkids, but like their grandparent had 45 and they're a part of that. You know, half of them are gay. Remember what I told you all about mentally transmitted diseases? This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Caesars and be cool. But a bias, and in this case, an implicit bias, would be I don't fool with Little Caesars. Little Caesars not even on the menu. It's either Papa John's or Pizza Hut. So let's be clear because words have meaning. Since y'all do
But see, this is the problem. The problem is I get that E-Bird, but y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta look past that shit. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you say moist and zesty until you realize how many of these niggas are fucking these bitches. How many of these gay? I told you all before, and I'm gonna tell you again. These women be knowing they're gay. That shit was in the 90s, maybe the 80s. But in 2000, they know they're gay. These women be talking about that DL shit. That's a lie. They know they're gay. And a lot of dudes, I think, don't dudes be believing the hype where these women don't be having sex with gay men because that's always a slur that they call you as a heterosexual man. The reality is they are having a lot of these women are having sex with these dudes. That's why these dudes are so bold in saying this shit. And so dudes got to stop with that fucking jokey bullshit because this shit is past that. This is past that. Cause y'all go fuck around and have daughters that be dealing with dudes like this. If this stuff isn't like dealt with, y'all playing, yeah, man, you moist and zesty. Well, you know, some of these moist and zesty niggas are running through bitches. And the reason why I'm not trying to jump on you, but what I'm trying to say is a lot of that is a way of dismissing what's being said. It's like not taking it seriously. Shout out to JD Aesthetic with the $5. Taking it seriously. And it's like, no, this is serious. I didn't realize that these bitches. I told you all that these chicks are not on DL, but I was mainly talking about marriage. I didn't know these bitches are fucking these niggas to this extent. This is a problem. This is a problem. Now you see why black women be having STDs out the wazoo.
Not, I mean, just do not want to deal with bisexual men. They are not on the menu at all. You have a bias, okay? You have a prejudice. And it really doesn't matter your reasoning. You could think it emasculates him. You could think that he could constantly want men. You don't want to compete.
The reality of the situation is we can have a conversation about certain things, but there's certain things that is just gonna be what it's gonna be. Fuck what you talking about. And this is that thing. Understand that if people knew that y'all would be having this conversation, y'all would have never people would have never gave y'all gay marriage. Y'all would have never got the right y'all got. Y'all would have never got the job rights, all of that. And understand that stuff can be dialed back. Believe that. See, what they trying to do is run out the clock and get these generations so freaked out that they don't know the difference. That's what they're trying to do. But this is actually very serious. What's up, Charles? And this is black women's fault. This is black women's fault. This is on you. This is another demon you all are gonna have to exercise.
With him for other men. It's all about the men in this situation, by the way. But another uncomfortable conversation that needs to come out of this is how women feel about non straight men in general. Throw the dating and the sex part out for right now. What does that do to his social standing?
Like this is that FD signifier crap. This is why when y'all
So
look,
if you are
it's
attracted
another
to
one.
a man and then you find out that he is bisexual and you are no longer attracted, you are biphobic. You are homophobic. Yes, absolutely.
I'm actually very happy that this is happening to y'all right now on social media. I'm actually very happy about this conversation. I want this conversation to just blow up and go crazy because you made this bed. This bed has crumbs in it, but you have to try to go to sleep in it. You also saw a few mosquitoes buzzing around the room before you turn the lights off. And now you got to go to sleep with all this going on. Every single time somebody says something to women or gay people or just any specific like large group, y'all got a name for it. Oh, you're a misogynist. Oh, you're homophobic. Oh, that's because of the patriarchy. Oh, that's this, that's that, blah, blah, blah. Instead of just calling people hateful and judgmental. If I say something that's phobic, that sounds like I have a phobia of someone, of some group, just say.
Yeah, so he was saying basically what I was saying. But my point is, I'm saying this because I want y'all to understand that this ain't just some shit I'm pulling out. Like, these are dudes, these are women. Like, there's women saying this too. This is actually kind of wild. This is one of the longer videos. He always do that shit. You'd be surprised how many of them niggas on that dude ain't gay, but he's with a white woman. But you'd be surprised how many of them motherfuckers do that. That's that TikTok shit,
Called
yo.
homophobic and transphobic doesn't affect people as much as it used to, and it doesn't have the same impact that it may have had in the past, simply because you guys overuse it and you use it for anything. You use it to describe people who prefer to date straight people in comparison to bisexual people. You use it to call people transphobic when they say that they would prefer to date someone who was born a male and who presents as a male, right? Like, you guys just overuse it to the point where it holds no weight and it has no meaning. And I think, honestly, I don't know about y'all's For You pages, but my For You page has been nothing but what I consider to be rebellion. Because for a long time, I feel like a lot of people have.
This is that ultra liberal, BGS would call this bread tube. What's up, Charles? BGS would call it bread tube, right? But the black version. This is like you all like this is like I don't want to be in the same community as y'all. Like I'm so fucking serious about this shit. Like, and even her, like she's generally this is a chick that probably would be some of the main ones pushing some of this stuff, but now she's mad. She's what that other dude was named John Cannon. This is what he's talking about. The dude that had no shirt on. This is crazy, man. Because
they don't really agree with that or align with it, referring to themselves as people have walked on eggshells around this topic, referring to themselves as cis women, even though they don't really agree with that or align with it, but they want to be social media correct. And I think people are finally stepping into like a very solid place of authenticity, meaning that they don't really give a fuck if you label them as something that they know they're not, because they know who they are. And like, I feel like all of these topics, like,
Charles, I'll put some of these in your Discord. This shit is crazy. Like when you really hear like these people are talking about like some, oh, man, this is crazy.
for one, sexuality,
This was like the third video I came across.
from my perspective, it can't be intellectualized because it's preference. It's supposed to be discriminatory. Like, what do you mean? And the funny thing about, you know, bisexual men who will get up on here and again loosely throw the word homophobic around simply because they're not someone's preference is, it's just telling to all of this is an attack on women. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, all of this is an attack on women. When it comes from trans men, when it comes to bisexual men, it's always an attack on women. Why can women not say no? And why do our spaces and our autonomies always get infiltrated and questioned? No, a straight heterosexual.
She's talking about gay dudes, cause dudes ain't trying to be around you. Like regular dudes got their own spaces. This is women's fault.
Woman does not want to date a man who has sex with other men. It's preference, my love. Go find someone who wants you. And that's why I'm confused on these topics as well. Why are you so fixated on people who don't want you? You can't change their mind by bullying them.
Because it's not about them wanting you. See, this is where she doesn't see. This is where she don't understand how the ideology, it never stops. See, the thing about liberalism is liberalism doesn't have an endpoint. That's the problem. Liberal, like, and it's not just liberalism, but like specifically what she's done. Because it's not about him wanting you, it's about you conforming to what the fuck they want you to conform to, which is the very shit y'all was bitching about with the patriarchy. And by the way, women do that shit too. Exactly. Iron waffles. And if y'all picking up what's being put down, shout out to JD Aesthetic with the $5.
By calling them names, you can't coerce someone into wanting to be with you just because you don't agree with their preference. Again, dating is supposed to be discriminatory. It's preference. Literally, why are we acting like dating in general is a requirement of this game of life? It's not. If I choose to date someone, it's because I want to, not because I feel societally pressured to.
You know, it's funny. It's funny how she says that, but see a black man with a white woman, then it's you hate black women. These gay dudes are using your own rhetoric against you.
Get in a relationship with someone. You don't have to be with anyone your entire existence on this realm of earth. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. It's simply a part of the script. Like, I made a video a few, like maybe 2 weeks ago.
One of the reasons why I'm jumping on this particular topic is because I've been telling y'all for a while that these dudes are not in the closet like that anymore. They haven't been since like at least 2018 or 2020, post COVID. I've been saying this. This is absolute proof of what I've been talking about. These people are casually, this is not a new thing. They've been having these flare-up conversations. This has been a situation. They opened the door for they did. They've been had this. And this is why certain doors are meant to be closed. And you talk about why does it matter? Why does it matter? Because it just doesn't stop at them. They start to force their way onto you. They're bold about it.
talking about trans women. You know, there's been discourse, and like, I've been thinking a lot on this recently too, because it's always like, I feel like the conversations fluctuate. Like they fluctuate, they're really high, and then like they dissipate, we stop talking, but then it's always like it ramps back up again. And I'm always kind of like, what the fuck? Like, who cares? Why are we talking about this? This is delusion. The base of it is delusion. There's a lot of weird shit that's been going around. There's just a lot of, it's like I have fatigue. I'm fatigued by all of it. I'm fatigued by all of it. Who gives a fuck? You know, who cares? And I made a video talking about, you know, women. They're like, I don't understand why trans men are calling themselves women or denouncing real women by saying birth givers and assist women, all this shit. It's because they have the mind of a man. Like, I'm tired of you guys acting delusional with them. Use your common sense, use your brain for a second. Trans women are not women because, and my thing is, you can't even say a trans woman is a woman because you have to put trans in front of the woman in order to differentiate and separate, to highlight, to make known the fact that they transition from man to woman. You can't refer to yourself, I am woman, without saying I am a trans woman, because you know what you aren't. The mind, the internal system, biologically is still male. So technically, you're not really transitioning into anything. You're cosplaying. You can wear makeup, wear wigs, get breast implants. You can even cut off the thing that you pee out of. But you're internally still a man. You could get a vagina, but you can't birth life through it. You're still inherently disconnected from this universe. You don't have a womb. You don't get periods. Oh, I'm emotional. I'm just been so emotional.
Appreciate that. That's what I'm being like. Well, this is called a mentally transmitted disease. This is what this is called. And black women have been instrumental in fermenting this disease because they want to be anti-patriarchal. This is y'all fault. And she's calling that. I mean, she's not acting like, she's not like hiding away from that. Shout out to Landon. They opened the door to yeah, but yeah. I mean, what that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I hear it. I'm not trying to, I mean, obviously comments are comments, engagement, but it's one thing to leave a comment, but I want y'all to really understand that, you know, there are, you know, this is your community too. And there's people that's putting pressure on it to change it. And this will affect, if y'all got kids, shit like this will affect y'all kids. So when y'all be jokey about stuff, this is actually not a laughing matter at all, to be honest with you. The fact that this stuff is like this far, you know, this far along, is actually kind of disturbing. The fact that this is this far along in this cycle is kind of disturbing.
My period is coming on. No, it's delusion. And I'm fatigued by trying to entertain it. I'm fatigued. Yes, it fucks with my head a little bit when you're a male who presents as male, who has a beard, but you have a full face of makeup on and you've pressed your chest fat together to make it look like you have cleavage and you want to be referred to as she. That confuses me. I'm fatigued. I don't want to walk on eggshells around people who are constantly offended by nothing. This is all made up. They're all constructs. It's all a construct. I just found out what pansexuality was today, and I'm confused as fuck. It's like a new word for something that doesn't need a word. You're attracted to all genders. So bisexuality, but it's interchangeable with bisexuality because it's not, no, I have to read it. Because I was trying to, like, it's literally right here. I swear, I was just looking at it. Because I heard someone say I'm pansexual, and I was like, is that new? What the fuck does that mean? It says, pansexual is a sexual orientation defined as emotional, romantic, or sexual attraction to people of all genders. So you're freaked out. You like anything.
I'm laughing because I didn't get this. Is a long ass video. I didn't watch this whole video. Is this not like what I'm talking? I told you, man. Like, you know,
You're a victim.
I know these gay dudes. I know these gay dudes are like they mad, boy. I know they mad. They like this bitch. They like this. Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Ooh. Yeah. Oh shit, that's funny. That's what it is. They trying to read. They're trying to read like this is a problem, yo. And I'm like, yo, y'all can do what y'all want, but we not the same, yo. But we family. No, we not, yo. No, we're dividing this up just like Sunni and Shia, just like Protestant and Catholic and you just like Lutheran and Presbyterian and Baptist. Nah, we splitting this up. Y'all, in fact, y'all need to create an own faction. Or you know what? We gonna create our own faction and y'all just gonna be over there. Exactly. Oh, that's funny. You're absolutely right. Now they know what preferences are. See, this is why, like, because sometimes I need to do a better job at showing y'all what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Why do you need another word to describe that? And I don't understand why we're trying to label shit. Everybody wants to identify as something. Why don't you just show up and do you? Again, dating is fucking optional. And it does not need to be a part of your identity.
Like, imagine, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like short dudes talk about, bitch, you're short phobic. Why do you hate short men? Why do you hate short men? You're short phobic. And quite frankly, these people are basically taking like our struggle when it comes to race, and they doing what other groups are doing. This should be unacceptable. Why don't you like short men? Like, for real. Like I said, they want everybody to be gay. And they said, oh, they said that's homophobic to say that. Talking about, oh man, yes it is. I mean, yes they do. And all this homosexuality is a spectrum. Y'all, if y'all want to be like that, go to Europe. America is not like y'all want to be like that. Take your ass to Europe. Immigrate, motherfucker. Immigrate or go to Canada. Exactly. This is what we've been telling them. And now all of a sudden they're upset because they're coming for them too. Well, this is something y'all gonna have to fix. No, brothers have been said this. But what's happening is as time goes on, what did I tell you, man? White supremacy will let these people, oh, I'm gay. But here's the problem. See, now they don't just want to be gay. Now they want to be gay and have families and be out in the open. Exactly. Because knockout, a lot of these chicks got a kink for gay men. So it's not like it's a lot more black women that's having sex with gay men than you think. And you gotta understand, if they'll fuck a gay black man, you know they'll fuck a gay white man. You know that's on the table. He said you said you can't believe in racism and reject homosexuality. It's all the same. We're no, it's not. Race, like as Martin Luther King said, content of your character, not the color of your skin. So being discriminated against in a society built around your skin tone, or your skin pigmentation is completely different than sexuality. Sexuality is an act. You're not born gay, you choose to be gay. Sexuality, you participating in first of all, homosexuality is anti appropriation. It's anti, like, was one of the reasons why it's promoted to the extent that it's promoted, because it's a population control mechanism, to be honest with you. And so no, it's not. I mean, you can believe that all you want to, but it's not the same. It's not. It's absolutely not the same. And quite frankly, go to Africa and you'll find out how not the same it is. The only reason why homosexuality exists to the extent that it exists in the United States is because a lot of white men are gay. A lot of white men are very homoerotic, and they have a homoerotic culture, which, by the way, does dovetail into pedophilia. They don't like to say that. People don't like to say that, but that's absolutely true. The history supports that. People just don't want that to say that, because they know it's gonna make you a target. But the reality is the history supports that, and where we're going right now supports that. When you look at ancient Greece and Rome, even if you look at antebellum slavery and all of that, when you look at all of that, and especially with white culture, that's definitely a part. That's the only reason. That's why the same thing with the pedophile law. The reason why the pedophile laws are not as intense with what the first chick was saying, it's the white people. That's it. It's white people. That's it. It's because it's white men. Not saying it's not black men that do it, but to the level, it's white men.
I end up going to.
You think I'm lying? You think I'm just making that up? You think I'm making that up? I know you didn't claim being black is the same being gay. You said we're all victims of white supremacy is the same shaming tactics. I'm telling you, no, it's not. I know what you said. I'll put that up in a second.
Going to prison, the only thing they allow you to bring in is a Bible or a Quran.
Can you bring in a rosary or prayer beads?
No, you can buy those through the chapel once you get there. And so I worked for a few weeks in the library. I hated it. I hated the prison guards. They were just monsters and criminals themselves. And I mean that in quite
selling drugs,
the literal. Sorry,
everything.
I mean that in the literal sense of the word. Yeah, just bad in every way. And so I transferred to the chapel. I liked the chaplain. He was actually the only prison official there that I genuinely liked and respected. He was there only because he wanted to do the right thing, and he realized it just swallowed him up.
No, this is not what I'm talking about. Hold on. Give me a second.
Pedophile in the entire federal prison system who's in a minimum security work camp. Everybody beats on pedophiles in prison. So all of the pedophiles go to low security prisons. So there's still, the double concertina wire and the controlled movements and all that stuff. But in a minimum, you're free to just come and go as you please. There are no locked doors. There are no bars in the windows. Most everybody works in town, as a janitor or a gardener.
Pedophiles
Seriously.
are working in town?
They're not supposed to be, because there aren't supposed to be any pedophiles in the minimum security work camps. But that's where Ghislaine Maxwell was sent. Minimum security work. She's the only pedophile in the entire federal prison system who's in a minimum security work camp. And she was transferred there by the president. Why? Why would he do something like that?
So I can't find the actual video, but like the video that I'm looking for is the video where he says like the low security prisons. Hold on.
I'm supposed to be at the minimum security camp across the street. And the guy laughs at me and he goes, "Not according to my paperwork, you're not." And I was like, oh my God, take it easy. We later learned Brennan was so angry at the shortness. So I told myself, take it easy.
Yeah. So what I'm trying is one where he says that most of the pedophiles are in the lower security prisons. So that's a later video he found out, because they would be messed with to the extent that they would be messed with. And a lot of them are white. So that's basically, my point. And shout out to what's up, BGS. He said gay black wouldn't tell you that. And yeah, he said you can't believe. He said I can't believe in racism, because racism. First of all, racism, the ism of race is. Hi, you can't believe in racism and not believe. You said you can't believe in racism and reject homosexuality. Literally, the definition of racism is prejudice against you because one's race. There is no sexual orientation along with that. There is no sexual orientation along with that, and I damn sure can believe in that, because gay black men make on par what white men make. Why? Because even though they're black, they are less of a threat, because they pretty much, it's assumed they're not going to appropriate, so they don't have the same threat level when it comes to corporate America. So they're allowed to be in corporate America. By the way, the dude that's Black Panther is a flaming homosexual. Go look it up. So I actually got to take back what I said. I was supporting, him. Like because the issue of race is really they're two different things. And people want to confuse it. People want to confuse it by saying it's not. White people are perfectly accepting of gay black men, because gay black men are not a threat to white supremacy. Gay black men are actually more of a threat to black empowerment than they are to white supremacy, because what gay black men do, gay black men is like immigrants. They allow you to have the face and be a white person in black face. And in the hierarchy, they're cool with that, because that's basically your population going down. So so the stuff that gay black men have an issue with is two things. An issue with black men not accepting that shit, because again, we're not gay. And by the way, black men in America black American men that are heterosexual in America are way more accepting than Africa. And sometimes I think people fucking forget that. People forget that. So it is absolutely, and by the way, people's religion doesn't support that. In any of the Abrahamic religions, well, maybe Judaism, but it's definitely not Islam and Christianity. So it's really this, I want an exception. And the policy that most black men typically had, which I'm starting to realize was a mistake, is to be like, you over there, I'm over here. But see, the problem is gay black men don't just stay over there. And I'm not going to say gay black men are the main reason, but gay black men are antagonistic to heterosexual black men, because they understand they can't do what they do as long as gay black men need the community to be fucked up, because if the community actually had order and was competitive, they wouldn't be able to operate as freely. They know this. So they're actually invested in the black community being fucked up, which makes them an asset to white supremacy. Is it every single one? No, but it's most of them. This is why they're always teaming up with black women against black men until now. Man, get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. My channel's not that big, and I don't give a fuck. Why is there Islamophobia but no Christianophobia? Because Christianity is considered the white religion. End of story. There's your answer. Islam is not. Islam is a cultural counter to white Christianity. To white, with the Crusades, all of that. Even though I know Arabs are considered white, I know all that. He said they aren't the same. I agree. It's constant claiming to be. I agree. It's the constant claiming to be victims. Gays will always claim to be victims, no matter how many rights. Yeah, they. I agree with that. I agree with that. But here's the difference. The difference is black people are not claiming to be victims. Like, that's where I think people kind of start losing shit. Black people are not claiming to be victims. Let me give you 5 crimes against humanity. The transatlantic slave trade, that was based on race, not sexual orientation. Jim Crow, that was based on race, not sexual orientation. The crack era, aka, cocaine being flooded in our communities. Yes, we rocked it up to crack. However, we wouldn't have rocked it up if we didn't have the cocaine to do it. Police mass incarceration. And then an honorable mention is police brutality. All these are based on race. None of them are based on sexual orientation. The worst thing gays had to complain about with sexual orientation is they couldn't get in the elected office. They couldn't get a job. They couldn't get like higher end jobs. That problem is completely been solved. And then the marriage thing. I don't believe in gay marriage. And quite frankly, knowing what I know now, they shouldn't have got civil. I would have been against civil unions too. Because as far as I'm concerned, gay people shouldn't be able to have children. They shouldn't be able to adopt. They shouldn't be, quite frankly, they shouldn't be able, they really shouldn't, in my opinion, they shouldn't even be able to have children. Using in vitro and all this crazy shit. Because it's a societal issue. You're subverting the society. I know some of this shit should be on a Patreon. I'll probably leave this up for like 3-4 days and then put it to the Patreon. But yeah, and I can make these arguments on why, because the point is people are taking it too far. They will not stop until everybody is gay. They will not stop until everybody believes in that spectrum stuff. And there's a reason that Sodom and Gomorrah existed in the Bible, because if you create that kind of chaos, that the society is going to be fucked up. So, and people can be emotional about what the fuck I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, you notice how I'm not being emotional? It is very logical and sound what I'm saying. Yeah. People it's crazy. Okay, they saying YouTube is YouTube blocking just your comments? He said men earn, men fight, nagging is female behavior. Yeah, and that's what a lot of gay people are doing. He said he's not. That's a false rumor. He said, how do you get laws on the books without complaining? Well, complaining is just the only purpose of promoting an issue is to bring eyeballs to an issue by, the public square. But that's not the main way to get laws passed. I mean, I would make an argument that gay black men have more rights than heterosexual black men. Yeah. Oh, the Caribbean is another one. The Caribbeans don't play that for the most part either. So we're actually the most tolerant of it in the United States. As far as the black diaspora, Dude, shut up, man. The government, first of all, as far as the government, looking at government to fix your problems, it's not about fixing problems, about enforcing the laws that are on the books. It's about having the rights that you have. That's a nonsensical argument. Corporations look for government to fix their problems, aka taxes they don't gotta pay. I mean, the corporations have a very strong control of the government. So they definitely believe in government, but they believe in the government working for them. Politics is the division of resources. So if you're not playing that game, you're a fucking moron because everybody else is. These immigrants get benefits from the government. The Asians from the government. Nobody is as self-reliant as they think they are. The road you're on, what you use to go to work, to do your job, that is the government or being subsidized. That is like, I'm not saying you got to run the government for everything, but make no fucking mistake. The government does a lot more than what people want to think. The government, like, there's no country that's just no government, but it just runs on corporations. It doesn't work that way. That's a very childish way of viewing it. A lot of y'all don't really have a good understanding of what the government is. So it's like they have this left-right understanding of what the government is. Not understanding you wouldn't fucking have planes if it wasn't for the government. You wouldn't have a lot of stuff. Like, it takes the government to kind of organize that. And when corporations are a governmental body. Why do y'all act like corporations is just a privatized government that's mainly focused on making money? That's it. Corporations are a governing body. They get votes and all of that. They just do what's in their interest. Yes, the government can be used as a tool to steal from others. They don't create, they steal from Peter. That's a childish way of viewing it. Because what, you think Apple is not a governmental body? You think Tesla is not a governmental body? Boeing? They may not be government as far as public, but they're definitely private in how they operate. I mean, so running water, yeah. So a lot of y'all don't, and this is important because for black men, if you're on this government can't do shit, then you really don't have an ability to govern yourself because you're out of practice because in your mind, government is just something for white people or for liberals. It's not how that works. These corporations leverage government all the time. How do you think these corporations are able to operate outside the United States? That's one of the main functions of the U.S. military. So again, you all have these childish right-wing, left-wing views of what government is. A lot of y'all don't even know. So you talk about, yeah, you're asking the government for everything. There's people like that's not what people are talking about. I'm not talking about welfare or shit like that. Because that's see, when you think of government, that's what you think about. You're not thinking about government contracts. You're not thinking public-private shit like these sports fucking teams. You wouldn't have you think these NBA teams would be able to create these stadiums? It's a lot of stuff you wouldn't have without government. You don't think about it as government. It's a lot of stuff. A big reason why corporations can do what they do is on the backs of the foundation that government lays. Perfect. I'll give you a perfect example of something that we should have that we don't have. We should have a lot more fiber optics in the rural communities. We should have fiber optics everywhere. We don't have that. You know why we don't have that compared to Europe or compared to Asia? Because we put the burden on the telecommunications companies to actually build out the infrastructure for that. That means they got to make a strong investment in something that's not going to pay them back for like a long time versus the government for a quality of life reason should put up that money up front. At least they should front up a loan for a low interest loan so that we can have the stuff and then we pay for it over time. That way the corporations are not burdened with having to do it. That's a public-private situation. We have governmental monopolies when it comes to energy. That is not how dude, you have to pay for things. Government only has a single dollar because they take it from working people in the form of taxes. They aren't the source of wealth. They steal wealth. No, motherfucker. Your government, you have to pay for shit. You don't inherently have wealth. You don't. You don't. Because what stops somebody else from taking your shit just because they can? Just because they can. It's a military. Who benefits from a military the most? The rich. Because because that's what stops people from taking their wealth. And most of them are not even in the military. So again, this is where you start getting into that right-wing rhetoric. And it's like, this is where, and I'm not even like a left-winger and saying government should be big, but it's very obvious you don't understand the basic function. You don't understand what government is. So what happens is, government only takes wealth. A lot of shit you have is because of the government. A lot of shit you have. And even if corporations sold it to you, it's because even like the reason why we can get products as cheaply as we can get them, like the interstate system was originally built for the military. But it's a main transportation hub. Like, it's a lot of stuff. And so a lot of y'all fall into this basic ass middle school understanding of what government is and what it does. To where it just becomes this left right wing bullshit. The oil that we have, these things have to, you have to pull, because I understand government is an aggregation of resources. You're just looking at it from a fucking tax perspective. And the reality of the situation is, man, these damn rich, like these, it's not like these rich people just don't have taxes. They are actually imposing their will on everybody else. Like, I see the difference between you and me is Apple is a governmental body. Palantir is a governmental body. You look at government like the public sector. I'm looking at it from any massive aggregated point. Amazon is a governmental body. Disney is a governmental body. So you're looking at it like private. That's that Mitt Romney shit. Dude, shut the fuck up. Do I support mine? I don't know what the fuck that is. What I will tell you though is in Durham they have employee-owned, they have peer-owned grocery stores. Dude, I'm from Chicago. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I live in a state that is a very right-wing state. I live in a state that has no unions, and I'm still here. So, but at the end of the day, there are things government does. If you don't fucking understand that, I'm not gonna explain it to you. I'm just not. Because the fact that you even got Mandani, the Mandani even came out of your mouth, says that you don't really know what government actually is. You think you do? Apple has to get money voluntarily. That doesn't, even if that's true, that doesn't control the impact that they can have. That is not the same. They just don't have a military they can impose it, but their impact is similar. For instance, Apple makes their phones in China. Apple sells their phones for enough money that they could make them here. They could. Apple is one of the few companies that they really can't say that we got to do this at cost. So again, I'm not arguing this with you. I know more than you, and quite frankly, I'm not about dude, arguing this with you is like arguing religion. Arguing this with you is like arguing religion, and I don't argue belief. You don't know as much about this shit as I do. And you have a very limited understanding of this shit. And no, I'm not a liberal. No, I'm not a socialist. I'm actually probably what you call, I would land more in the conservative, Democrat, liberal, Republican belt. But that's where I would land in, that belt. But a lot of y'all really don't understand. Y'all will let a corporation be a governmental body and not understand the difference. So you actually become a problem. I left Chicago. I didn't leave Chicago. My mom left Chicago and I had to go. I didn't leave Chicago as an adult. And truth be told, the problem New York is an interesting system because New York is our largest city. So it's not like New York. New York, when people say certain things in New York, New York is has a cost of living problem. And so the reality is, like, I live in a city with technically, I live in a city that's 512,000 people. So there's certain things that my city, like for instance, where I personally like Charlotte is the 15th largest city in the United States. It's double the size of Raleigh. Wake County actually has more people at 9.70,000 than Charlotte does at about 954,000. So there's certain things that I don't have to deal with because of the area I'm in, the land it's a lot of land, so people can still build houses versus, even New York is very different even in Chicago because Chicago has a sprawl. New York doesn't have that. New York is a perpetual concrete jungle. Even going all the way down to Philly, Chicago is not that. So Chicago is very different. So, as far as I don't know what Madani's talking about with groceries, with free grocery stores. But what I will say, and I don't fuck France, but what I will say is France has a system where they actually push food that doesn't sell in the grocery stores. They push food that doesn't sell in the grocery stores, and they have a system just kind of like our system of pantries and shit like that, and like food bins and stuff, but they do it more systematic. And there is something that we could do where we could sit here and have tiers of food saying, hey, there's a sell by date for regular food. There's a sell by date for like meat, and then the real sell by date, and then after that you move it to another tier where the real sell by date would be a significantly less expensive sell by date. There could be something with that, but see, you can run that privately. I'm not this public. Everything's got to be public. My philosophy on government is it should always be you should always know where it is if you need to find it, so it should be that visible, but it shouldn't be so visible that it's everywhere all at once. And most of the issues with the government right now today are really private corporations and how they're influencing it. That's the big problem. And yeah, but you really don't understand what government is for. So you're always going to fall into that kind of right wing rhetoric, because what you're saying is it lacks a lot of nuance to it. It lacks a lot of nuance. It really does. It really does. So I'm not even gonna like I've been on here a while, and I'm not even gonna waste my time arguing with something like that, because it's kind of like I'm arguing with a Christian that believes in the talking snake. At that point, it's a waste of my time to argue back and forth with that. It really is, because I'm arguing belief. I'm arguing belief. I'm arguing ideology. So at that point, it is what it is. Because I promise you, Republicans use government all the time for what they want to use it for. This idea that they definitely believe that they believe in big government. They just call that the college of corporations. Most white people are against government because white people see the government as the only thing that can actually stop them from doing a lot of the bullshit that they do. That's why they have an antagonism towards government. If you notice, the Nordic countries don't have an antagonism towards government. The countries, the whiter a country is, the less antagonism they have towards the government. The whiter a country is, the more they are cool with the government being big. So it really has nothing to do with their just inherent issue with the government. Is really they see the government as an impediment to impose their will on the other people, which is why they don't like it. The government is not this malevolent thing. It's thing that's voted for. It's thing that's controlled. There's no fucking reason why we shouldn't have high speed rail. There's no fucking reason why we shouldn't have fiber optics almost everywhere. There's no fucking reason why we shouldn't have these things. Have a lot of these things. That's because America counted Hispanics as white. The reason why white people have dropped off is mainly because of World War II, and it's because they don't count Hispanics as white anymore. And you keep saying a few decades ago, when 1990 was a few decades ago. Black people have always been about 10% of the population. It's because everybody else was counted as white. He said, I'm in Chicago. Why do you never move back? Because the money's here. The money's here. Raleigh is one of the most cash-infused zones in the United States of America per population. And I don't like the winter. Why would I go back? I can always fly back to Chicago. Chicago is a higher cost of living. Chicago, you got it ain't even a crime. Although that's a lot more than what's here. What would be the benefit of me going back to Chicago? Like, seriously, outside of some sentimental shit, what would be the point? Other than it's a city with cool shit. Well, I can experience that flying. I got family there. And I lived in the city. I live right by the Sears Tower or the Willis Tower on Madison Street. What's wrong with air travel? Train travel would be more expensive. Train travel is less expensive. Air travel, everybody ain't got to fly from one part of the country to the other. So if I live 4 hours from DC, it makes no sense for me to fly 30 minutes to it. And quite frankly, trains, depending on where you how you get them, China has a train that can go 600 miles an hour. Your average airplane at cruising speed is 500. The reason why you don't have trains is because the airplane industry doesn't want to compete. The car industry doesn't want to compete. Most of our train networks is owned privately, by the way, by CSX and all those companies, which is history of Vanderbilt. The oil companies know less oil would be used. So it's money out of their pockets. Notice how all those are corporations. That's why we don't have that. Even though it would be far more, if you want to talk about green initiative, that's actually a way of doing it. And the generations are a lot more communal as how they drive with Uber and all of that. It'd be less cars. And the unions don't want that either. Why do we have all these fucking cars? Seriously. Yeah, but what do you mean they're less wealthy? It's only 20 million of them. The Nordic countries have the best quality of life of any country, including the United States. So when you say less wealthy, that's not a fair comparison, because between all the Nordic countries, you're only talking about 20 million people. Like two of them have 5 million, one has 10. So that's like comparing like Florida to the rest of the United States. You keep saying, oh, lost. I'm giving. You know what? You're not saying nothing super disrespectful, so I'm not gonna block you. But dude, I'm giving you answers. Like I said, dude, you want to believe what you want to. He said they want to push the EV agenda with the cars. Yeah, but that wouldn't be as necessary with trains. Because here's the thing, man, EVs require batteries, and those batteries require a lot of rare earths. So that's one more thing we need rare earths for, when in reality we really need rare earths for more military stuff. We already got it in the phones. Exactly. So it's like, again, man, I'm doing this freestyle. You don't want to get to think and type and ask me questions. Yeah, but dudes like that, Brian, they don't know what, so they don't know education is socialism. They don't know social security is socialism. They don't know what socialism actually is. They don't understand the difference between socialism and communism. And I'm not pro socialism, but capitalism can't exist without socialism. It can't. Capitalism can't exist without socialism, because people will just kill the people that have the most and reset shit. But they don't understand that. Dude, I don't need, again, I've already got you pegged. You're right. You're one of these right wing dude, man. I'm an entrepreneur. So I understand all this other shit. But there's a difference between macro population and individual entrepreneurialism. A lot of you like, dude, man, you're caught up in right wing rhetoric. I mean, I already know that. And so you read this, read that. I'm sure you're gonna recommend fucking Thomas Sowell. Yes, absolutely. And I'm not right wing. I'm not left wing either. I'm an independent. But I have a so I already know. I have a better understanding of this shit than you do. This shit is a religion to you. So I mean, it is what it is. You think capitalism can never break. I'm sure you thought it was a good idea to deregulate the banks when Alan Greenspan did that dumb shit. I'm sure you thought that shit was a good idea. Trust and believe, most of our quality of life problems is because of corporations that don't want shit to happen. No, you're not. Because if you were, because the stuff that I'm saying are rooted in making a lot of common sense. That's what all y'all think. No, you're not. You have a belief, you're emotionally encoded to that belief, and therefore, that's what team you play for. I don't do that. Liberals are full of shit and conservatives are full of shit. Conservatives say they want small government, but they believe in multinational corporations. Conservatives should be some of the main ones busting these big corporations. They should be the main ones that believe in antitrust protection, but they don't. But anyway, I said what I needed to say. The government is who allow and enforce slavery. Sure, and who was in the government at the time? Who was in the government at the time? And when slavery was about to end, guess what? And guess what? Slavery lasted as long as it did because of the cotton gin. It was extended more because of the cotton gin, which is a private invention. What are we talking about? And by the way, the government allowed and enforced slavery was because of white people and economics behind what white people were making, going all the way back to the bankers, the Vanderbilts, and all of them. It was wealth that kept slavery going. Because remember, cotton was oil. And there was people that got rich, old money till this day. Don't try to separate. No, don't play that game. Don't play that game. That's a lie. That's a lie. Don't. That's a lie. The socialist thing is a lie. And now we're going from government to parties. Don't play that game with the Republican Party. The people that are Republicans today would have been Democrats of yesteryear. So see now see that right there. I'm for the truth. No, you're not, because you know that's not true. You know that is not true. Woodrow Wilson is Democrat. Sure, he's one of the racist presidents we ever had. But don't act like, don't try to play that game. Don't try to play that game. Don't try to, you're trying to disconnect capitalism from slavery and say it's just some government thing. The government didn't benefited, but it was wealthy white people that benefited. The slave owners were white, and the people that facilitated the sale of a slave was a bank, which was privately owned. And remember, back then, a lot of the corporations and the industrialists were stronger than the government, because especially pre-Civil War, because the Civil War was really mainly about the federal government's authority over the states. So that was up in the air. So states, it wasn't really settled whether the federal actually has power over the states, or if the states are just a conglomerate, like a kind of a unionized conglomerate. So you're lying. So, and I know you know enough to know that. So no, these white people, and the government is made up of people, which are white. So don't try to act like the government is like some AI algorithm or some shit. Motherfuckers be lying. Like I said, that's ideology. Yeah, man, slavery was socialist. Get the fuck out of here. Socialism wasn't even a concept like that back then, because you didn't really have the technology and the distribution mechanisms to make it a concept. Yeah, so socialism. So remember, socialism and the Civil War are about the same age. Communism and all that with Lenin, that was the 1830s. The Civil War was 1860. So that stuff was still very, very, very new. The problem is socialism didn't really have a real settle because industrialism wasn't there yet. Not the modern industrialism started in Britain. That didn't happen. That wasn't there yet. And then when you had modern industrialism in the early 90s, you still had kids working in factories and shit. So I mean, those concepts were like brand new concepts, but they weren't really fermented in any real political stuff. Again, I'm not pro-socialism, and I have my own like red pill reasons for not that. But at the same time, see, you have an ideology, you're trying to fit into that. That's what I'm saying. You don't know as much as you think you do. Capitalistic countries ended slavery because the difference between slavery and capitalism is slavery. You have to take care of the slave. You have to feed the slave, house the slave, versus early capitalism. You could basically pay them minimum, and you put the burden on them to have to take care of themselves. So it's not slavery. But the problem is you needed industrialism and stuff to do stuff in an industrial way, and they already tapped what they could tap out of slavery. America did slavery in order to get cotton out, because cotton was basically oil. What oil is to the Arabs, cotton was to America. Just like sugarcane used to be considered oil for the French Empire with Napoleon, which is why he had to sell the Louisiana Purchase to America for pennies on the dollar once the Haitian Revolution happened, because he needed to fund his military. So again, you have an ideology that you try to fit shit in. And I'm not trying to act like I'm the smartest person in the world, but a lot of y'all get emotionally encoded in this stuff, and capitalism is not God. It's not. And y'all don't understand how it all works together. And you don't understand how corporations are actually fucking capitalism up. they should be a system where there's but yeah, it should be a balance. And then depending on the size of the country, remember, guys, America is the third largest country on the planet. The only countries bigger than us is like India and China. So again, people just have this, oh, I don't like the government is like network marketing. And it's kind of like y'all, a lot of y'all don't really have a understanding of what it's supposed to do. Y'all don't really know what it's supposed to do. So y'all just keep throwing mud and shit and see if it sticks. Anyway, yeah, I've been up here for 2.5 hours. Y'all are welcome. Don't say, I ain't coming up here. He said, I'm going to need a drink after this. I mean, I'm not like, he can have his opinions. There's a lot of people that have that opinion, but a lot of conservatives don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They just don't. A lot of liberals don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. I'm not trying to, be mean. They don't. Like, I'm saying this shit free form. This isn't like, I'm just looking it up. I'm saying this free form off the dome, which should tell you a lot. But anyway, y'all. But like I said, dude, you entitled to your opinion. That's why, I'm letting you talk, because people are allowed to have their opinion. You ain't talking crazy. And I appreciate that. Now, BGS say he like a socialist. I'm not that. I ain't saying that's bad, but I'm not that. Canada's a socialist country. And I don't agree with that. But remember, Canada's the size of California. So anyway. Yeah, people are entitled to their opinions. Appreciate all of, but when people start, even that woman that said what she said, I could look past her calling me, oh man, y'all, like you really having a direct conversation with a predator. Like, oh, you're a predator. Like I got a couple of like little girls under my belt. Like, get the fuck out. Like, I can look past that because, she talking in general language because they in their feelings. Shout out to Michael Ross with the 5. Shout out to Landon with the 2. Shout out to Landon again with the 2. Shout out to SVS in real life with the 2. $2 matter. Shout out to Landon with the other 2. So it's total of 6. Shout out to Duffman with the 2. All dollars matter. All dollars are appreciated. Make that Cash App is at the bottom. Just letting y'all know it's there. It is what it is. I actually have a Patreon. I'll put the link in the community tab. That talks about Disney, how Disney fumbled the entire 2 generations being stupid. It really talks about how millennial Disney took over Luke Star Wars when the oldest millennials are 30. Now the oldest millennials are like 44, 45. We got kids. We're the largest generation. We're the ones that's gonna be taking our kids, our sons and our daughters, or our nieces and nephews to these movies. And we like, fuck Disney. So they fucked up an entire generation playing. So that's a video. I am gonna start doing more when it comes to the videos. I'm gonna treat the Patreon like a news feed, where I'm going to start doing like posts and putting posts together, because I can do that relatively quickly. And these will be kind of precursors to things that I get in. That way y'all can kind of get a good feed that's going to be aimed at black men for black men. So make sure you hit that Patreon, even if you hit it up for free, because it's a list to get me accounted, and it's actually easier to get into the Discord from the Patreon. Because if y'all go on the Patreon, if y'all ask for the Discord link, I can just give it to you rather than doing all that email shit. So that's what the purpose of the Patreon is. Again, I have my Patreon has a pay element, but it's really pay what you think you should. It's not really, although I will be adding tiers soon, but I want to get content in there first, a good amount. But I have the Patreon is free to just join, and I do put shit in there. Most of the stuff that I put on Patreon is actually free from the start. It's very rare that I actually, as of right now, that I make it so it has to be paid to see it. So right now you have the opportunity for a while to basically just get everything for free, and then eventually I'll make it so the future stuff will be paid. So my Patreon, and it's a chat in there. Y'all could go back to me. It's easier to get in the Patreon than it is a Discord. So think of Patreon as like a free blog. and then y'all could get the app. Patreon is actually doing some stuff now too, where Patreon is making it so you can post like a social network. So Patreon has been making some really good changes. Shout out to Patreon. I will start doing, and I mean, look, hey, real talk, because understand something. When it comes to business and stuff, I'll have that conversation. That conversation is going to be stuff that's more on the Patreon, because this channel is aimed in a certain way. So a lot of those conversations about what I think about money, wealth, and all of that, because technically what I'm talking about now is not the full scope and depth of what I think. That's going to be had there. So I'll be sharing that a lot more. Make sure y'all support that, because I am trying to get that up, even if it's just a list, because Patreon actually does a really good job of promoting the email without like really spamming people. And also, like I said, the Patreon app is a really good app. Like I support Patreon a hell of a lot more than I support Rumble. Discord is very good too, because with Discord I can do a lot of just voice notes. But if y'all are trying to get into Discord, hit the Patreon first, the free one, and I'll have like a free chat group just for that in the Patreon. And yeah, it's good. It's gonna be conversation that you know y'all not getting everywhere else. So anyway, that being said, is Edward signing off. Peace.